entire factory and controlled the machines to start preparing something. It had been 3 days since Shiba had left. The continuous rain made him very anxious. He worried that Guy would drain all the electricity in the factory. The next day, the military caught Shiba's group of friends while they were trying to modify a vehicle using MI parts. The commander considered all three to be terrorists and presented a photo of Shiba, demanding they provide information if they didn't want to die. Meanwhile, while Shiba was repairing his headphones, Guy picked up the signal and urged him to run from the house just as the soldiers stormed in. Not seeing him, they immediately started checking the nearby security cameras. Shiba ran to the factory and saw that the MI had been completed by Guy. But he wasn't allowed to be surprised for long because the soldiers had arrived. Through the cameras, they saw two Oceanian mechas and Shiba's three friends had been taken hostage. The commander demanded Shiba come out, suspecting him of being part of a terrorist organization. The three tried to explain that they were just city boys who liked modifying vehicles, but he wouldn't listen and pointed his gun at them, forcing Shiba to come out. Shiba was about to do what he said, but Guy spoke up. Did he want to be captured and spend the rest of his life in prison, or would he resist and find a path through hardship? Except being a fish trapped in a cage, or be a fish that leaps over the dragon gate and becomes a dragon. If he believed in it, then pilot this. Without hesitation, he chose to pilot the MI with Guy. When the commander didn't see any movement, he began firing. Shiba entered the MI and inserted Guy like a key. After a few seconds of analysis, the MI was identified as Kenbu. The retinal scan process began, and Shiba could now see everything outside. Guy appeared in a cuter form. After a bit of getting used to the cockpit, Shiba transformed the MI into humanoid mode. Following Guy's instructions, Kenbu charged outside, surprising everyone. Shiba flew in and punched one MI, then grabbed it and threw it into the other one. However, the enemy still fired back, forcing him to retreat and take cover. They continued to unleash bullets, putting him in a tough spot. One enemy unit jumped from behind, forming a pincer attack on Kenbu. At this point, Guy told Shiba to use the finishing move. With blazing eyes, it demanded Shiba shout the name of the move as coolly as possible. As both enemy MIs charged in, Shiba shouted "Iron Cannon Blast" and used his weapon to pierce one unit. He quickly grabbed the one attacking from behind and smashed its arm into the other. This was the first time Shiba truly felt alive. Immediately after, a
Later
soldier
I
took
will.
Shiba's three friends as hostages and demanded he surrender. Seeing this, Guy told Shiba that it had it covered. It then changed its tone and said that those three were just tools for Shiba, that he had used them to gather the parts to repair Kenbu, and now that it was complete, they were no longer useful. Guy even insulted the commander to his face, saying he had lost track of the real terrorists and instead arrested and punished innocent civilians. How shameful! After saying that, the two of them left. Following that bold provocation, the two now had to live in hiding like this. That night, Shiba stopped to inspect Kenbu. He checked his phone and saw he was now wanted for terrorism. But being too hungry, he didn't care. Shiba asked what they needed to do next. Guy said they had to cross the Seto Inland Sea and head to Okayama. That area was outside the control of the Oceanian military, so they would attract less attention. But even if they were still pursued, they would just live in exile. That sounded reasonable, so Shiba took a nap to regain strength. The next morning, Shiba had to camouflage Kenbu because earlier Guy had informed him that it needed to rest after processing a massive amount of information in one day. It needed sleep to avoid overloading. Once the camouflage was done, Shiba went to find something to eat because he hadn't eaten anything since yesterday. He approached a garden full of vegetables and thought to himself that since he was already being hunted like a criminal, committing a little more crime wouldn't matter. So he went to the garden and picked a tomato. Just as he was about to take a bite, the owner of the garden showed up, holding a sickle, scaring Shiba into bowing deeply and apologizing. The owner looked at him silently, then said if Shiba helped him, he'd give him food. After that, under the kind farmer's guidance, Shiba harvested many kinds of vegetables. By noon, he got to eat cool tomatoes that had been soaked in a stream. After eating, the farmer asked him to help plant seeds. They worked until the afternoon, but Shiba didn't feel tired. In fact, he felt happy with these new experiences. It made sense, since he had always lived in the city. So experiences like these were very precious. The farmer, having seen it all, invited Sheba to his home. His wife came out to greet him, and the farmer asked her to prepare a meal for their guest. She happily agreed and told Sheba to take a bath first. After bathing, he was treated to a grand meal by the couple. Sheba didn't hold back and began eating. When he took the first bite, his tears fell unconsciously because it was completely different from the taste of fast food. He always ate and made Sheba feel genuinely happy. After finishing the meal, Sheba drank tea to rinse his mouth. At that moment, the TV broadcasted a wanted notice for Sheba, and in his speechless confusion, the old man said that he once had a son, but unfortunately, he died while participating in the border war. The two of them had promised each other to go fishing together when he returned, but it seemed that would never happen. That boat had been left unused until now. The old man said that if Sheba needed it, he would give it to him. He knew clearly that Sheba wasn't a terrorist, because no terrorist would bow down and apologize so meekly in the field after getting caught stealing food. On the contrary, Sheba even helped him tend the garden. The old man said that in such chaotic times, one must not lose faith in people, so he would give Sheba that trust. He also assured him that as long as Sheba stayed here, nothing would happen to him. Emotions surged in Sheba upon hearing those words. He kept thanking them. To dispel the awkward feeling, the old woman said she'd go check if Sheba's laundry was done. Sheba offered to help, and just then the doorbell rang. The old man told Sheba to hide, then stepped out to meet the town's police chief, who had come to check if any terrorists were hiding here. The old man, with a determined gaze, firmly stated that there was no one here. Still, the officer spotted Sheba's shoes, but because of the old man's credibility, the officer turned a blind eye. That night, Guy contacted Sheba. It had heard everything, and also knew the officer had ignored the matter. However, both it and Sheba knew that the old couple would be in danger if he stayed any longer. So the next morning, he left with a farewell letter. First, he expressed his deep gratitude for being taken in, thanked them for the meal and their warm words, and also asked for permission to borrow the boat. Once everything settled down, he promised he would return. In addition, Sheba made the house look messy as if the couple had been attacked by him to prevent suspicion. Then Sheba connected the boat to Guy, and the two began their journey. Even so, Sheba still felt uneasy as more and more crimes were piled onto him, things he hadn't even done. Guy confidently said it was fine. No matter how many crimes were blamed on him, as long as the truth came out, it would be resolved. Hearing that, Sheba felt relieved and departed. Guy informed him that in just a few minutes, they would reach the other shore. But ahead was the border war zone, a brutal battlefield. Before they could prepare, Guy announced they were surrounded by Asian military forces who had set up an interception formation. Guy scanned the entire battlefield and confirmed there were at least 12 enemy matches. It was too late to flee, so the only option was to charge forward. Guy said that Sheba had already taken down Oceania if he defeated Asia too. He'd be a hero, though it wasn't what Sheba wanted. The chance to fight fired him up. As the Asian forces opened fire, Kinbu leaped into the air, landing on a broken bridge nearby as calculated by Guy. The two pressed forward. Kinbu charged and took down one ally, and Sheba used it as a shield, pushing both into the water. The thrill surged through Sheba, and he charged forward again, taking out two
You hungry,
warriors.
Chrissy?
The enemy commander was astonished by Kinbu's agile movements. Guy identified 4 enemies firing from a distance. Kinbu dashed over, kicked 2 away, and grabbed a rifle to shoot at another charging ally. But the weapon required identity verification and couldn't be used. No problem, Sheba slammed the rifle's handle into the ami's head. However, more reinforcements arrived, and they were surrounded on 4 sides. Guy calculated an escape route. It detected a high-capacity battery nearby. If ignited, it would explode. Taking advantage of the enemy's gunfire, Sheba had Kinbu throw several battery packs into the rain of bullets, triggering a massive explosion. Using the fire as cover, the two of them made a break for it. However, the Asian forces continued firing, hitting Kinbu's leg and immobilizing it. They quickly surrounded and restrained Sheba, then unleashed a hail of bullets on the cockpit to destroy it and kill him. But Kinbu was too tough for the first barrage to break through. The commanding officer continued to order fire until Shiba was killed. But just as they were about to shoot again, a sniper from afar took down one of the Emi. The Asian army immediately became alert, but the distance across the mountain range had completely blocked their targeting. Each bullet fired took down one Emi, and once all had fallen, the pilot from the other side contacted Shiba, providing him with the location he needed to go to and giving him a password. Then, that pilot fired 2 smoke rounds to create a chance for Kenbu to escape. These were special interference smokes, making it impossible for the Asian army to track Shiba's position. After that, Shiba met his rescuer, thanked him, and introduced himself, also introducing Guy. However, Guy showed irritation upon seeing that there was another AI similar to it here. The other pilot's AI also greeted them. The 4 then boarded a transport vehicle and departed.
Yeah.
The other AI introduced itself as K, and the pilot was Gashin.
You know which one's which?
To determine where they were going. And K explained that this road was built before the border war. It was a leftover from a highway project, privately funded and constructed.
That's your bag.
So the enemy wouldn't know about it, and they could travel safely. Then it was Shiba's turn to ask who Gashin was, with a curt and reserved demeanor. Gashin explained that the Japanese were piloting them and forming their own army with the aim of restoring Japan. Gashin called their organization Yadagarasu. Guy remarked that Shiba had encountered real terrorists. Shiba was then taken to Yada's camp, where he met the maintenance workers. Though they called him weak and effeminate, they still agreed to repair Kenbu. Then another person arrived, introducing herself as Risa. She led him to meet the captain of Yada's second unit, Kumai. After a brief introduction, Kumai asked Shiba a few questions that sounded like an interrogation, asking whether he had comrades or assembled Kenbu himself, and even asking if Guy was programmed by Shiba. Although a bit taken aback by these questions, Shiba calmly answered. He found Kenbu already assembled and just set it up and repaired it, not even knowing if it would work. As for Guy, he found it in the forest, and it happened to activate when he inserted it. After some discussion, Kumai declared that Kenbu was Yada's property. It had a pair of sibling units designed based on the concept from an MIT Joho, currently operated by Gashin. Kamui added that the reason Shiba couldn't activate it the first time he saw it was due to a missing part, which was supposed to be delivered to Kenbu, but the pilot and AI transporting it were attacked, resulting in Kenbu remaining dormant until Shiba came along. After all that, Guy angrily asked if Yada was planning to take Kenbu back. However, Kamui said that would be too unfair to Shiba, so the second unit captain offered him a better deal joining them. They weren't terrorists like London's claimed. They were a revolutionary army, not extreme in their actions, thus not terrorists. Moreover, since Shiba could repair and fight with Kenbu, they saw him as a good fit. Shiba hesitated, knowing that joining them would mean he'd have to kill people. Gashin got angry, saying Kenbu wasn't a toy, it was a weapon of war. He then showed Shiba a video of many Japanese civilians being massacred, and pointed out that Shiba held in his hands the power to save them, yet still hesitated like a coward. Seeing Shiba's unconvincing face made Gashin storm out in anger. Kenbu asked Shiba to forgive him, explaining that Gashin's father had once had the determination to restore Japan, but he died before fulfilling that goal. Gashin's rough attitude came from his desire to realize his father's will as soon as possible. Returning to Shiba's decision, Kamui said it was fun.
That's a lion.
They could help him regain his citizenship and return to normal life. Live under a different name and identity in exchange for returning Kenbu. After hearing all the terms, Shiba went silent, then said he would think it over. He went outside and sat alone. At that moment, Risa came to talk with him. Shiba asked why she had joined the Revolutionary Army. She told him that she once had a family, but they all died in a traffic accident, and the vehicle responsible was military transport from the Asian Army. Thanks to diplomatic immunity, they were declared innocent, and even reversed the blame onto her family for causing damage to the military, demanding compensation. Thinking back on it still fills her with resentment, and she's certain that there are plenty of people in Japan who feel the same way. That's why she joined the movement to revive Japan, and so did everyone here. But Shiba had no such reason to join. His parents died of illness, unrelated to the military. At first, he thought assembling Kenbu was just a hobby, But when fighting alongside Kimbu and Guy, the feeling of metal clashing made his body surge with excitement. However, when he faced death up close, he was overwhelmed with fear and withdrew back to himself when recalling that moment. Then, a gentle touch of reassurance came from Lisa. She honestly admitted that she had been sent to persuade him to join Yaya, but she reflected that if her own little brother were in the same position, she wouldn't be able to encourage him. Either she would have told him to run far away and live a peaceful life. She wanted Shiva to value himself more. How can a person be happy if there's no one by their side? Remembering everything he'd been through, the elderly couple finally made his decision. That night, Shiva reported that headquarters had informed them that the military had increased security after they rescued Kenbu. So they would temporarily halt the plan to cut off enemy supply lines and return to headquarters. As for Shiba, Risa wasn't sure if he would join. While Gashi remained annoyed at his weakness, the next day, Gashi woke him up for training. He showed Shiba the list of drills they had to complete that day, and didn't give him a chance to refuse. He just started the session, forcing Shiba to follow along. Meanwhile, Guy was being shown the accessories that would be equipped on Kenbu batteries. That afternoon, Shiba was exhausted from training, and Gashi told him that this was only the beginning before leaving. At night, Shiba lay in bed listening to Guy rambling endlessly about how majestic Kenbu was, but he was too tired and fell asleep. The next morning, he was dragged off for training again by Gashi. That night, he was told not to eat, but everyone around him had seen his efforts and cheered him on. Someone even made him a special drink, and after drinking it, he fell asleep. The next day, he was again called out to train. Meanwhile, Guy watched Kenbu being gradually completed, and Shiba himself was steadily improving. That day, Gashi gave him an early break. As Shiba returned to change clothes, Risa called him to see Kenbu. It had been fitted with new armor, as well as a sword and cannon mounted on its back. Shiba was amazed by the craftsmanship of the specialists. After discussing a few things with Risa, the two went to a nearby stream to bathe. Risa casually undressed in front of him, and seeing his embarrassment, she grabbed his hand and jumped into the water with him. The cold stream washed away his worries. After that, they talked. Risa told him that the day after tomorrow, they would leave this place and head to Hiroshima, and asked if he had made up his mind. Shiba said he was still afraid of fighting, but after spending time with everyone, he realized they weren't bad people. So he would go with them and wanted to let him fight alongside. Risa was overjoyed at having this time. That night, he told Guy about his decision. Guy said he would always support Shiba because Shiba had saved him. Risa reported Shiba's choice to Kenbu. The next day, Guy and Shiba tested the new Kenbu. Thanks to the upgrades and maintenance, it moved faster and more agile than before. With one slash, it sliced cleanly through a large boulder. After the trial run, Shiba came down from Kenbu and met Gashi. He expressed his amazement at the upgrades, and then Gashi took over piloting it. Gashi needed to familiarize himself with Kenbu in case Shiba died. Shiba should do the same. Then the two had a practice match using each other's ally, and Gashi's unit, named Johan,
Bloody bastard!
their friendly match was evenly matched. Even though Guy talked too much and annoyed Gashi, he calmly dodged every blast from Shiba. Kei calmly advised Shiba to switch weapons more flexibly when his opponent had figured out how to counter him. But Shiba was worried that if he fought too seriously, Kenbu would get scratched. While he was distracted, Gashi quickly closed in, and Kei instantly told Shiba to switch to a shield to defend himself. Right after that, he pulled out a short dagger and struck away Kenbu's weapon. Then he tried to do so, but Gashi managed to grab another weapon and slashed Johan's shoulder. The result of the battle was a draw, and Gashi also acknowledged Shiba as a pilot, and that is by a black ally. They targeted turned its attention to the rebel forces, just as its massive army was about to strike there was no data available in this thing, so they had to be extremely cautious. cautious. At the right moment, Sister Risa arrived to assist. She had only managed to fire a few shots before the Amite instantly teleported in front of her and killed her with a single blow. Her sudden death left Shiva in shock and unable to react. Guy called for him to return immediately to avoid another strike from the Black Amite. Kenry contacted them, asking both of them to buy time so he could evacuate everyone. Meanwhile, Gashi, upon realizing that this was the Amite that had killed his father, launched an attack despite Kei's attempts to stop him. At the same time, his memories surged back on that day. Gashi had asked his father to let him pilot Johan instead of the training match. His father had agreed since there was no sign of danger. But shortly after he left, an emergency alert came saying that a black Amite had attacked his father's team. When Gashi went to find him, he saw that the Amite had already killed his father. Gashi, filled with rage, swore to avenge his father. Kei told him to calm down because his vitals were unstable, and that he wouldn't be able to control Johan properly. The Black Amite swung its weapon at Gashi, and Kenji quickly rushed in to save him. However, Gashi was still in an unstable emotional state and told Shiva to get lost. At this moment, Kenji contacted him and urged him to cooperate to defeat the Amite if both of them lost. Everyone here was happy. Kei also tried to calm him down to stabilize his vitals. The problem was that both eyes, Guy and had no data at all to formulate a combat strategy. The only information they had was that this Amite attacked every location it passed. Both the Asian and North American armies had taken heavy damage from it.
That's why I got this. Save mine. Yeah. I'm just a run.
Followed by a combo of explosions against used a weapon from the weapon to attack.
Sucksick run.
Was able to use the weapon they explained that this was what
Sucksick bitch. Sucksick cock. Sucksick run. Sucksick. No.